All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's training, which has been on my mind for quite some time. So I'm diving right into it today, guys. It's a beautiful day out. No time to waste. Let's absolutely get right to this. So I want to talk to you guys about business in general, and I recently have come up with this. I've been compressing my business philosophy into some very simple basic components so that it's really understandable. And as I did this, the book Principles by Ray Dalio kept registering in my head. And what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to bring up the whiteboard so that you guys can see it. And what I want to do here is I want to show you I want to show you what the philosophy behind this book. So Ray Dalio, who is the founder and former CEO of Bridgewater Capital, the largest hedge fund on the planet. Guys, this is so big. All right, look, this is such a big hedge fund that if their alpha fund makes any moves, it's so big that the entire market is going to shift. Do you guys have any idea how insane that is? Okay. So what he says is that business is really a series of loops. So what happens is you start right here. Okay. And then you set a goal of getting right here. So let's say as a business person, your goal is to earn $100,000 every single year. So this spot right here is $100,000 in revenue, right? And you're down here. Let's say you just started your business, you're at zero. Okay. So what happens is in order to get to a place that you've never been, you have to do things and go places that you've also never been, right? So you start going along this way and you start putting some stuff, you start making some momentum, things are going well. You're like, okay, I'm seeing this. Okay, I got to make this webinar and I got to do this training. And then I'm going to start marketing and something. And then all of a sudden something happens. You don't know what to do. You hit some roadblocks, you hit some resistance. And all of a sudden it starts going down, right? You start feel like you're losing momentum. You start losing momentum. And then all of a sudden you get to that point of despair where it's just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get over this? This is hopeless. You start having doubts. And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs can resonate with that moment. So at this point, there's a couple things that you can do. And what most entrepreneurs, most early stage entrepreneurs is when they're met with that resistance, they will go over here and make a new loop. Right. So then they'll start going, they'll say, okay, well, maybe instead of making $100,000, I'm going to shoot for 5 new clients. And then they start doing this. And then again, resistance happens. And it's just okay, well, maybe that's not as hard. A lot of people aren't interested. Is my price too high? The other thing that you could do is you could start out on that mission, and then it starts getting tough. And instead of keeping your $100,000 goal, you say, I'm going to set it at 50 because that seems like it's easier to reach. And then all of a sudden you're moving in that direction. But what most really successful people will tell you is to never lower a target. Grant Cardone said, I was watching a video by him the other day, is saying never lower a target, because when you lower a target, you're missing out on the growth and the evolution of the entrepreneur. What you should do instead of everything is you should stay right here and figure out the one problem. Why are you having a hard time making $100,000? Why are you having a hard time attracting new clients? Is your price too low? There's a lot of things that you need to figure out. And if you just create a new loop or lower your target, you never actually figure it out. And the evolution of your business, the evolution of yourself as an entrepreneur can never get to where you want to be. So as a business coach for the clients that I work with every single day, this is where we intervene right down here. We want to intervene with you right where it's tough and where it gets challenging, and then allow you to stick with it and give you the tools and the resources and the strategies that we've learned over the course of working with many clients and my own business, and show you and start taking you around this loop and start showing you oh, this is how you do it. Oh, this is how it works. Oh, this is how you get more clients. This is the price that I should be charging. And all of a sudden you break through, and then you finally get up to that $100,000 point. But as long as you create new loops or just lower your target, you're never actually going to get up to that thing, because you're not getting better. For me, I look at this as a timeline. So this is, March, or let's say that's May because that's when this is coming out, and this is September, right? I look at it as a timeline, and I know that if I want to I set a goal as a place that I've never been, I have to do things that I've never done, and that means with 100% certainty, you are going to reach a challenge. You are going to get to a point where it's really hard and you don't know what to do, and that's right here. But don't move. Focus on one thing. Focus on how to accomplish the thing that you've set forth and be relentless about it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Figure it out. The pathway exists. Jeff Bezos makes $100 million every single day. There's certainly a way for you to make $100,000. You just have to figure it out. You have to stick with it. And as soon as you give up, you're never going to get there. Right? So for me, I'm going to race to find the challenge. I'm going to race to find the obstacle, because the quicker I get there, the quicker I get to the goal, because I look at it as a timeline. And then when you look at business as a whole, guys, once you get up to that $100,000, guess what happens? You set a new target. Now it's 200K. And now the same thing happens. You start using the strategies that you have known in the past that accomplished 100K. You try to magnify them. And then guess what you find is that now you have a team. And now you have to manage people. And that's not as easy as you thought. And they're not as good of employees as you were. And there we're back at the same point. So you're faced with the same decision. Do you lower your target and say 100K is just fine by me? Or do you create a new loop? Or do you figure it out and keep going? And if you see what's happening here, you'll realize that business is just a series of loops. That's all it is, just all the way up as far as you would like to go. So what I want you to do, what I'm hoping happened throughout this training here, is that you start realizing that you are a chronic loop creator, or you're a chronic target lowerer. Right? Target was up here. Now it's down here. Like, which one are you? Because if your business is struggling, unless you just started, unless your business is brand new, if your business is having a hard time creating that level of revenue, then you are more than likely, based on the research of the many, many entrepreneurs that I've ever worked with, you are going to fall in one of these two buckets: a chronic loop starter, and then you look, a year goes by and you have a zillion different products. You've compromised so much in your business, and your business is still struggling to pay the bills every single month. Or you're a chronic target lowerer, where you initially set out to, a really big target, and then over time you found it to be really difficult, and then you just lower the target. Which one are you? What I'm proposing is that you focus on one thing at a time. So if I clear this, clear all drawings. So if you focus on one thing at a time, I want you to be right here. This is where you are right now. And this is where you want to be. Presumably, let's say everybody here wants to make $100,000, okay, per year. Understand that if you've never done that before as an entrepreneur, you are going to have to improve yourself, because as it stands right now, if you've never accomplished that, you do not have the skill set to get there, period. Right? And that's not a knock on you. That's life. When you became a trainer, you didn't have the skill sets to get people to lose weight, or get people to get stronger, get people to be more athletic, but you learned it. You went through the trials and the struggles, and you sat through the courses and you figured it out. Here is the same exact thing. The pathway isn't a straight pathway. There will be a challenge. You're going to start using all the strategies that you've learned, that you've used in the past, to make you 50K, to make you 60K, to make you enough money to get by and to pay your bills. You're going to start using those strategies. And what you're going to learn is that those strategies will not be the strategies that take you to 100K. So once that struggle starts setting in, we need to get you at this point. Right? And as a business coach, this is where I want to intervene, because we have the tools to get you around that curve so that you can see how to do that, right? And it's not always easy, but it is always effective. You have to understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But isn't it reasonable to expect somebody, if you kept at something and kept tweaking it and changing it and measuring and trying to improve one thing over and over and over again, at the very least, isn't it reasonable to expect that thing would get better? Well, why can't that thing be your sales pipeline? Why can't that thing be your business? And that's really the game that you're on. And if you just jump ship every time it gets challenging, And you may not even realize that you're jumping ship. It's just happening because that's the natural instinct. That's the path of least resistance of the human psychology. And that's why we talk about business is 90% psychology and only 10% the tactics. Because I don't think it's going to be that challenging for you to figure out how to get to 100K if you just stick with it. You'll see the things that are not working. You'll get creative. You'll try new things, and you'll find new things that work better than others. And that's really the game. That's the game that we're all playing. So put yourself put a stop sign here, put a detour sign where you won't let yourself go there, and force yourself and commit yourself to figuring it out and start turning on that uptick. And then you'll develop new strategies. You'll develop new skills as an entrepreneur. And all of a sudden you're going to have the strategies that will allow you to get to $100,000 as an entrepreneur. But if you're a chronic ship jumper or a loop creator, or if you're a chronic target lowerer, how can you ever expect to get there? So what I'm asking you to do, and what I hope that you do, is that I'm hopeful that you will classify yourself in one of those buckets. Are you a loop creator, chronic loop creator, or a chronic target lowerer? And then understand the logic, the crystal clear logic behind this looping strategy, and understand that all you have to do is embrace that challenge, welcome it, and figure out how to overcome it. And that's the whole game. If you want to be an entrepreneur, this is the game that you're in. And if you guys want help, this is where we intervene. If you're in that part where you're like, look, this is tough. If you want to learn from somebody who's been through it themselves, who is coaching other people to do it, other like businesses to have that same exact success, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you. Head over to 4acoaching.com and book a call, and we'll talk about it. And I'll show you how we can really be of legitimate service to you. My whole concept, guys, is keeping business wildly simple. And I don't want to have a million different loops going in your business. I want to have one loop that serves you, that makes you money, and that we're becoming amazing at selling it. And then we'll worry about the next loop, right? And we'll get really good at this. We'll automate this, and then we'll have the capital, the growth, the resources, the team to allow yourself to easily create a new loop. And that's really the game that we're all playing here. It's just stacking things on top of each other. So if you want some help, if you want me to intervene right there at that spot where it's tough, I know a lot of you are there right now, head over to 4acoaching.com and we'll book a call, book your free momentum call. And I'd be happy to walk you through the process and show you how it works. Guys, have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later.